G'day and welcome to another week of State of Mind. Sandro is joining us at some point. Thank you for that delay there. But today we have the amazing Kitty Parker. And Kitty Parker is director of Kitty and Miles Buyers Agency, a multi-award winning research and pioneer buyers agency. And Kitty is here today because there was a recent article that she shared around homelessness. And Kitty's got an amazing story, which we'd love to just get her to share and have a chat about. But Kitty found herself homeless as a young adult and knows all the struggles of finding a home. And today, and these days, she's actually buying people homes. So I wanted to, Kitty, can you take us back to you found yourself homeless? What happened there?
Yes, I was a homeless teen and high school dropout from very dysfunctional family. And without realizing it at the time, I believe these adversity moments in life very much built my resourcefulness. And fast forward many decades, and now I'm in the position where I've very much mastered the craft of assisting property buyers to go end to end within like 4 weeks. And I think a lot of my skill set has been developed starting from that core of me actually having experienced homelessness and understanding firsthand what home really means for people. And it's not until really you're homeless that you understand all the context as to what home ownership means and having a safe roof over your head. So now living in Sydney, Australia, where housing affordability is pretty ridiculous, I intimately understand what it's like for people trying to get into the property market, whether it be first home buyers, next home buyers, upsizers, downsizers. So I think my skill set over the last few decades from being homeless really is of benefit. To say it mildly, really of benefit now.
And I suppose back. So what are some things? How did you find yourself a roof? How did you connect with people to get to where you are today?
Oh, good question, Andrew. I went through youth shelters as a teen and young adult, and it was very much a resilience within when I determined that I was more than my circumstances and that I had abilities and intellect and capabilities beyond that which the situation life had put me in at that time. And it's very much then that I think it was a pivot point in my life. And I set forward to complete my schooling, and I very much topped the state in my schooling, even though I completed my high schooling in my 20s in a youth refuge. And then I got entry to university and got entry to any course I wanted to do at university. And then the more I educated myself, I've done postgraduate psychology, postgraduate policy and strategic planning. So the more I educated myself and pushed myself through the tertiary system, it enabled me to take my life skill set and combine it with an education skill set. So I've got the book smarts and the street smarts. And I think that set me up with a lot of self-belief. When you've been down and out and you've had nothing and all you have is your belief in yourself to keep going, it is like a firecracker under you. So now I can do anything. I believe I can do anything. And it's not an arrogance. It's I'll give it a crack. I'll give it a whirl. Put something in front of me. I'm not scared of failing. I'll just say, yeah, give it a crack. So I think it's all of that from my younger years, moving through and learning along the way as I have an educational background as well, that now it's really just positioned me in a space where I feel my ability to innovate and my ability to navigate any obstacle is yeah, I just feel unstoppable. Like, and I'll give anything a go.
I love that you said that you feel unstoppable. It comes to that there is a certain point in anything, in any part of people where when they go through either thinking about suicide, thinking about being at their low point, thinking about all the different things where they are at a low point. There's something called a turning point where either your own self belief or there's something there that made you change and turn around, because you feel like you're going in one particular direction, that the only way that you're going is really down to a lowest point, and then there's this low point where you feel like you either do something or you don't, right? So there's that point where you feel that this surge of energy of going, enough's enough.
Yeah.
When was that point, and what was it that made you turn around?
I think I could say I've had two of those points in my life. One was definitely in my early 20s, and that was what catapulted me to finish my education and actually fix my own personal homeless situation. That was one point. And then the other point, ironically, was very much, I was probably about 10 years ago. My partner at the time, lost his life. And that was another like pivot point in my life, where it was, life is short and you just need to make what you can of this life. So totally agree with what you say, Sandro. I've heard Tony Robbins. There's a phrase that Tony Robbins, not wanting to get into the whole motivational speaking kind of thing. There is this phrase that I've heard Tony Robbins use, and he said, if you want to do something and you know you're really passionate about it and it's your purpose, it's what you want to do, you need to look at it as if you're on a boat. You're on boats going towards an island, and you got to take out that island. You've got to take over that island, and it is for your survival. And the only way that you know you'll achieve it is if you're willing to burn the boats. So when you get there, you burn those boats, so there's no way back. And it really is that crux of resourcefulness and resilience and absolute conviction in what you're doing. And I think, as I say, I think there's something about the survival instinct, and coming from being homeless, it teaches you how to be resourceful for means of survival. But also it teaches you personally how resourceful you are. And it teaches you that can-do attitude is what's going to help you survive and get through. So it's just a given in me. It's like someone will present me with something, and it can be huge. And I'll be like, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. And I know that I have the capabilities of working through and problem solving and actually succeeding in that area. I may not succeed at first. It's not saying I won't fail, but I will get back up, and my ego isn't involved. This is not about my ego. This is not about my pride. This is, you just get back up and you give it a crack, and you might fail again. You may fall again. So you readjust, you think through what's the problem, work out a solution, and you just keep moving forward. And I never realized that so many people do not have that belief, and that really is, to me, the difference between someone that will really succeed and move forward and someone that won't. It's so much less to do with talent. It's less to do with education. It's less to do with any of the money. It's less to do with all of that and more to do with how much conviction you have in yourself that you can do it. 100%.
I love how you mentioned that, because you definitely do go through this problem solving thing inside of your mind once you've come to a specific corner. If you're totally cornered into a spot where you can't really move anywhere, but the only way is to fight through it or to move forward or to do anything else, and that's where I can see you move towards that. And the main reason that I see as the biggest thing that we have as human beings, because anyone can do this, right? Anyone can do this if they really, really wanted to. And the main thing that I see are things that distract people. It's a distractions that we are forced to have. It's a distractions from the media feeding us fear and all the things that's currently happening. It stops us from evolving or producing or creating things that we need to, and that creation is something that we could do. And anyone can do this, right? Anyone can really create if they really wanted to. And all you really need is to remove all the distractions. If you can remove all the distractions and start thinking, you can create all the different solutions. As what you mentioned, you create all the different solutions and you start creating and adding things. Even if you had just a pen and paper, all you really need is a pen and paper and silence and peace. And that's the secret to everything about the success of anyone that I've met from all the different people. You can see that they start creating things, they start writing things on the board or start doing things. And the moment they start writing things and remove all the distractions, social media, all the different things that's on them at that point, that is the point that they can actually move forward and do something. Because the moment that you start creating is the moment that you can start doing something with your life. And that's what I've seen you do. Like, I didn't see you do it, but that's what I could see that you've done. You've just started thinking about all these different things and all the different ways that you can get yourself out of it, that you've managed to do it, right? And you go, whoa, hang on, I could do this. And then once you've got this self-belief that you can move forward and start going from one foot in front of the next foot, it's like seeing a baby going, and they first stand up, right? And they stand up and they go, whoa, hang on, wait, boom, and they fall. You don't see them, and I'm only quoting this from other people that have mentioned it, because it's a natural thing to watch babies to just try and stand up, and they fall, and they stand up and they fall, and they go, oh, I've done it, and they feel really happy about it, and they elated, and you're elated, and they go, yes, you've done it. And the moment that they take that first step, it's similar to all the things that we need to be doing ourselves.
Spot on. And using your baby analogy, if you think of it, when a baby gets up and falls because they're practicing walking, they do it again and they do it again. You don't see a baby go, oh, well, I stuffed that up, so I'm not going to try walking. And you don't see a baby go, well, I'm just not going to walk at any point in my life because obviously I'm not good at it. So it really is, this self-doubt is such a mindset thing that we create as adults. It's not there to start with, because that baby will practice day in, day out without realizing, it's like they're not consciously realizing they're practicing, but they are practicing until they master something, and they don't care that they're falling. They don't care that they fall down and have to try again and again. Eventually they work it out, they start walking. Yet as adults, for some reason, we've become conditioned into failure is something to be avoided, or something to, it means we're bad or something. So as soon as we fail at something or we fall, we beat ourselves up over it. That tends to be the go-to. So we might try maybe again, but if we really, stuff up, then we give up and just say we can't do it. And
do you know why?
It doesn't do that.
Do you know why? Because
Why
it's the
do you even?
safest thing for
Oh,
it's
why
the
do you?
safest thing for us to do. Because we are we've always we've evolved to a certain point, but the only thing that we always want as human beings is to be in a safe environment. And the only way to, if you feel like you're failing and you're failing and you keep failing, the only thing that you want is that safety net. And the moment you feel comfortable and go, oh, well, I'm not going out there again, I'm not going to venture and put my foot forward, then that's where you stop. But you didn't do that. That's
Yeah.
something you didn't do, and that's something that you've become much more resilient. And kudos to you, because you're you've you're an example for a lot of people, and your experience in itself is something that's propelling you to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Not like there's other things that's probably going to stop you from things, and there's going to be times when you're going to feel down or feel like you're not going to be able to do something. But then you come back to those moments and go, hang on, I've come from a long way, right? I've come from a long way. All I really need to be doing is to do what I was doing and keep producing.
That's so true. So true. It's not to say if you're someone who's successful, that you don't feel crap at times, or you don't doubt yourself at times, or you don't have problems crop up. It's not saying it's a smooth road and it's just this never ending rainbows and unicorns and sprinkles. What it means is when you have those times where you feel inadequate or insecure or you doubt yourself, yeah, work through that, process that, sit in that for a short time, but then move forward. There's a difference between feeling it, understanding why, owning it and working through it, and sitting in it and wallowing in it, and then letting those feelings direct your future behavior. And it's when you sit in it and you feel inadequate, and then you make the choice to run with that and go, well, that therefore means I'm not good at it. I'm not going to succeed. I'll just stay in my lane. That's my favorite phrase, seriously, especially for women. It's do not stay in your lane. But so many times, just that hint of failure or one step where we fell, we think that's the end, and we use that feeling of negativity or self-doubt to then direct our future behavior. And it's whether you direct it and move forward and try again, or whether you let that determine your self-worth in that area. And if you go, I'm no good at it, I'm going to choose to walk away or not do it, you've made that choice. And it's not that you couldn't or you can't, it's that you've chosen to perceive yourself as not being capable. And you only learn through trial and error. I didn't magically get good at education. I didn't magically get good at buying property for people. It wasn't like, it was like some secret ability. It was working hard at it. And at each step, I'd say to myself, hone your craft, master your craft. And that meant learning through trial and error, stuffing up, but going, where did I stuff up and how could I improve that next time? And then getting to the point where you practice till you make perfect. And each practice, you're probably going to fuck up along the way, but you got to keep practicing and just get back on the bike. If you give up, you're never going to win. If you don't try, you're never going to win. So totally agree with you. It's just about getting in there and giving it a crack and not being scared to be rejected and not being scared to fail.
And you know what you're telling me there is you built a lot of this self-awareness. This self-awareness is this thing that you have of some of your limitations, because we all have limitations to a certain point, that you can either push that limitation to the next step, and you kind of learn from that and go, hang on, what are the things that I did wrong then, or what are some things I could do? It's the moment that you start asking all these questions of what you can do, what you can do to move forward. It's the moment you build a lot of these things of self-awareness of going, hey, there is a limitation. There may be a need to learn something and learn a little bit of this, or learn from someone I might know. And the quickest way is to learn from someone else who's already experienced it. So in real essence, if anyone really wants to move forward in anything, is to learn from someone else that's already gone through it. And that's by either going through a mentor or speaking to someone. The most important part that we could do as human beings is to speak to someone else, because a lot of things in the past, like tribes, if I bring it back to tribes, a lot of the tribes were all separated or have separated due to becoming bigger. And what they did still do was have these meetings of what they can do better as a bigger community. And the bigger that they got, they became countries. They became all these things that produces what we have today.
100%. Absolutely. Couldn't say it better, Sandra. 100%. It all comes down to our sense of self-belief, but how, I don't mean ego. In fact, it's very removed from ego. It's not about arrogance or pride. It's so, I don't want to get spiritual or things like that, but it's so much more. It's so much more than that. It's not about ego. In fact, I think it's very much ego in the world that gives us our limiting beliefs. Because, as soon as your ego is not through rejection, that's often what assists people to stay in their lane and not try again, because they're scared of failing, because they feel they may be judged by other people, or they're not good enough. And so much of that is very much your sense of pride and your own ego. But the reality is, who cares what other people think? It's like, it doesn't matter. You don't need to compare yourself. Be the best you can be, competing with yourself and the version of yourself yesterday or the version of yourself last week. It so does not matter about, your position compared to your neighbors down the street or your family or competitors' businesses. It's just about where you come from, you improving, and where you want to get to your goals. But as you said, you've got to remove those distractions. And I think ego is one of the biggest distractions in business. It just is a huge distractor, because you start to compare yourself socially, especially with social media these days. Everything's about social comparisons. And all it takes is for you to take that on board and feel like you're coming up short. And then you tell yourself that same narrative. Oh, I'm not as good as this person out there on social media, or I don't have as many followers, or gee, their social media looks really professional and mine isn't any good. I must not be good at what I'm doing. And just the comparisons, and you just get so distracted by that external that it's like you can see people implode, just, and especially with social media. And it's so important, like you say, Sandro, that you've got to remove those distractions and know what's important to you, honestly, what you want to achieve. And to me also, it's about, and I really, really mean this, how can I deliver my skill set and my talents that I've been blessed with? How do I utilize that for the greater good? Because if you are out there honestly coming from a place of wanting to assist others and wanting others to improve their lives and wanting others to grow, if you're not coming from a place of hoarding of my skills, my smarts, I'm this, and don't copy me, and I'm not sharing, if you can let that all go and just openly share your gift, whatever that is, and we all have gifts, it will be paid forward. You just get out there and give, and serve with your strengths and what you've been given, and you will receive threefold.
That's the bad side of ego when you're just talking about I, me, and like me. And there's a good side to ego as well. Is what you just mentioned about giving. And when you're in that state of actually giving, you're receiving, you're opening yourself to receiving a lot more. And the moment you start open yourself up to giving, you start seeing all these other people suddenly show up. And you'll probably notice that, and for anyone that's out there that's listening to it, you notice that things will start showing up in your life where you didn't expect. And
absolutely, it's about, as you would say, Andrew, it's about connecting, but it's also connecting for genuine reasons. It's connecting because when you understand, I don't want to use the word network. That has a bit of these days it can actually have like a bit of a negative connotation. People go, oh, a network. But when you can connect and you just serve, and as I say, everyone has their talents, the things they're good at, and everyone has their limitations. And when you connect and you just serve and just give for the greater good of all, it just, to me, that's a big game changer. And it's genuine in business, genuine for me. I want to help. I'm in the property space. I want to help people that technically don't get spoken to by the generic buyer's agent space. So, I want to help people that don't necessarily have large incomes, don't necessarily have high budgets, but they deserve home ownership. They deserve to have property. They deserve to have a roof over their head. And I understand that. So for me, I genuinely want to help these people. I feel like I've been blessed with a gift or talent, a skill set, whatever you may call it. And I want to serve. I'm lucky that by serving and being genuine, money comes. But money is not the object. And I've seen so many times when people say they're serving, but really it's all about the money. It's all about the money. And I just see they keep playing the small game. It's like for some reason they tap themselves out or they're capped. But if you genuinely, like you say, if you open up and you only serve and you give and you do the right thing, it will come back in truckloads. You cannot place that value on that money above and beyond that human being you're serving.
I agree. I totally agree to that. There's a lot we can talk about, and I think you're the next piece to the puzzle that we've because I've always been talking about homelessness and other things in the past, and there's some ideas that I have with bringing farms into the mix and trying to build shelters around farms and helping a lot of the people sort of find a way to rebuild themselves, and that's an offline type of thing that I'd like to speak to you about. So,
I agree. I know down the track, if someone were to say, Kitty, what's your bigger purpose down the track? I know somehow it's to play a part in assisting to solve both the housing affordability problem and homelessness. I don't yet have the answer. I'll say that. I don't have the answer.
I've got an answer for you. I've got the solution.
Yeah, I just know somehow I'm part of that solution down the track. I know I'm going to be involved in that.
Let's have a chat.
Let's have a chat.
Well, Kitty, thanks for that. There's so many more questions going through my head there, but just looking at the time, just wanted to, thanks for coming on today and sharing your story.
Thanks for inviting me, and thanks for having me.
Thanks, Kitty.
Yeah.
That was
and thanks to anyone who tuned in and felt inspired or have some positive takeaways. That's the whole point of this.
Yeah, I'm
Exactly.
hoping that a lot of people get something out of it, and that if you want to get in touch with one of us, and if you have anything around that homelessness piece or want to have a chat, just get in touch with us too, because that's something that we want to work on.
But before we go, how can people reach you, Kitty?
See, I never spruik myself. I'm Kitty Parker, buyer's agent on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. The website is www.kittyandmiles.com.au. And feel free, you can Google Kitty Parker. My socials will come up there. Come and follow, connect, reach out. I try and make myself as available to people as I can. So I'm sure you can find me somewhere on the web.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah, I've been following your socials, and yeah, there's some great ones. The way you do the social media it's great. Someone's got a little bit of a humor in some of them, and yeah, it's great. So follow Kitty and Miles. Thanks again, Kitty, for joining us today. And yeah, we'll chat to everyone else soon.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys.